So in February of 1959, 9 hikers set out into the icy wilderness of the Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. They were young, skilled, and prepared. Students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute had a goal, and that goal was to reach Mount Otorten, a name that translates roughly to "don't go there."
And of course, they went there.
Even that name sounds like a warning. Don't go there. They didn't just ignore it. They made it their destination.
They did, but they never came back.
This is one of those stories that starts normal and it ends like a ghost story. A tent ripped open from the inside, bare footprints in deep snow, bodies scattered and broken under the night sky. No one, not even today, can fully explain what happened.
9 people went into the mountain and never made it out. Not because they got lost, but because something made them run.
Tonight, we revisit one of the most chilling mysteries in modern history, the Dyatlov Pass incident, which, in doing some of the looking into this thing, there's a lot left to be determined and to be left up for, I guess you could say, some speculation as to what caused all of it.
Yeah, there's tons of speculation, tons of conspiracy. A lot of stuff was hidden or redacted by the Soviet government. We'll get deeper into it, but there's a lot of question marks attached to this, even though it's 2025. It's insane.
So, January 25th, 1959, 10 hikers departed from, and I'm sorry if I butcher this name, Sverdlovsk, a bustling Soviet industrial city. They were all experienced mountaineers led by 23-year-old Igor.
They weren't amateurs. They were hardened trekkers. They had planned every supply, every checkpoint.
And this wasn't just a casual hike. It was a certified expedition, the kind that earned them prestige in the Soviet sports clubs. They knew how dangerous the Urals could be.
Their route would take them through frozen forests, over steep ridges, and into whiteout conditions. One member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill early in the trip and had to turn back. And unfortunately, well, good for him, unfortunate for the rest, it became a decision that ended up saving his life.
9 left. Only one would ever return home alive.
Yuri said later that he felt uneasy leaving them, like something told him to go home. Sometimes your body knows what your brain doesn't.
And for days, their journals and photos showed smiles, laughter, and just, your routine camp life. Then, silence.
When they missed their return date, families called for a rescue. It took weeks before search teams found anything.
And that's nuts. Like, I get it. That kind of thing is dangerous, but for it to take that long, it seems like something very crazy had to go very, very wrong as well.
Yeah, they were experienced climbers and hikers. They were way out in the boonies. So, to be able to get everybody together to go look for them and find teams that would be willing to do that, it took time.
Now, on February 26th, a search team spots, can you guess it, the Dyatlov's group's tent, half buried in snow, near the slope of Kulat Syakhl. Again, sorry if I butchered that. I don't speak that language. I apologize. But it's known to the locals as Mountain of the Dead.
Honestly, man, with the amount of stuff like how the mountain's named and like Mountain of the Dead or like don't go there, but like you would assume like don't go there. It always seems like they give you a warning for a reason, and a lot of people are like, no, they're just naming it like that because it's dangerous, but we can do it. I was like, I feel like you probably shouldn't try at that point if it has a name like that.
Oh yeah, no, at that point you just turn the other fucking way.
We literally live in the desert in cities that should not exist because we pump in resources from outside. It's the only way we actually exist here. Sometimes things are named and shaped the way they are, and human spirit is meant to triumph, brother. Embrace it.
Well, yeah, but in this case, maybe they shouldn't have attempted this because the tent was torn open from the inside. The first weird thing, why would you cut your way out unless you're running from something inside?
And that's what's worse. They didn't take their boots, their coats, or their gear. That's not panic. It's like sheer terror.
And that's insane. Like, what got in your tent that is making you just rip it to shreds from the inside out, you know? But
Spider.
for me, yes, that would be the case.
Yeah, I remember seeing this a while back, and that's one of the things that always caught me. I was like, why from the inside? I was like, that's insane. Like, what's inside there that you need to get out so fast that you ripped your way out?
Yeah, it's nuts. And inside the tent, boots, jackets, flashlights, even food still laid out as if it was, going to be eaten for dinner. And outside, barefoot tracks leading away down the slope.
So basically, in temperatures hitting minus 30 Celsius barefoot, that's not panic, that's madness.
Or something beyond panic. They acted like people escaping from immediate threat, not a gradual danger like cold or an avalanche even. They were trying to get away from something, like now.
I mean, I know we haven't gotten too far into the story yet, but maybe it had something to do with the Yeti.
Dude, get out of my brain. I was
That
just
is one of the-
to go.
Yeah, that was one of the theories, is Yeti related on the paranormal side of things.
That's crazy. The Yeti got inside the tent?
I mean, when it comes to Yeti, Sasquatch, things of that nature, people still can't decide if they're like a cryptid, a mythical creature, magical. Like, no one really knows.
Spiritual manifestation.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That theory's gone around a while.
Yeah.
So the first two bodies were actually found near a tree line, huddled around the remains of a fire. They were barefoot and dressed only in underwear. Now, nearby branches were snapped, suggesting that they'd climbed the tree to look for something.
Or to get away from something.
And Dyatlov himself, they found him facing the tent like he was trying to crawl back home, trying to get back into his safety, or what he would have perceived as safety at the time.
But see, that's what's crazy. Like, how can you claw your way out of the tent and then want to go back? Like,
I mean, we don't know what the situation was, though. So, I mean, people
That's
have
true.
a habit of like doing dumb stuff just to kind of like give yourself comfort. Because if you're terrified, you're going to try to go back to what you know. Like, oh, tent's the safe space. It's the equivalent of like, there's a monster under my bed, but if I'm under my covers, it can't get me. It seems like it's the same kind of reasoning, like logic as that.
Definitely.
yeah, it's nuts, man. And on top of that, searchers did note something eerie. The tent wasn't buried by avalanche debris. The slope was shallow. The snow accumulation was actually quite minimal.
So not a wall of snow forcing them out. They left on their own, but the question still remains as to why.
The official avalanche story, it never sat right with me. Even the government reopened the case in 2019 and basically said, okay, maybe it was an avalanche, but none of the physical evidence fits. And so much of like the Soviet government was about secretiveness and trying to keep things from its citizens. So now that that government's gone, we're dealing with like the Russian government. That it's a lot of the same pieces are there, but the entire mindset, the entire psyche isn't exactly the same. So they wouldn't have everything that the Soviets had when things were being discovered. So I don't know that we'll ever get an official answer from that government either.
It would be interesting to see them go back and, redo a proper investigation or as much of one as they could. Or I know it's dangerous, but with the technology we have nowadays,
I mean,
you never
this
know.
is
But
decades later, how much physical evidence could be left?
well, I mean, like send a party out to that same area to just go investigate it. Not necessarily for this, but see if anything else weird happens out there while they're, camping out there. If they maybe experience some eerie or crazy shit.
So what I'm hearing is road trip.
Yes, we're taking a road trip to the Mountain of the Dead, folks.
No.
But back to the evidence. So the hikers had slashed the fabric from the inside. Their boots and gear were left behind, which suggests that they fled suddenly. some of their flashlights were still even switched on with the batteries barely drained.
That's so weird too. When it
Yeah.
gets into the paranormal stuff with the electricity draining batteries, like the whole EMP stuff, that all just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
So it was weeks later when they found like the campsite. So for the batteries to be barely drained, that's insane.
Honestly, that's now that you bring that up, that's really it's weird because if they could go for like that long and then they're in the cold and then the cold kind of zaps the fucking like energy out of batteries and shit. But if they're coming back like a week later and it's still on, that's pretty fucking crazy, dude. It's kind of like they expected to come just like right back to it.
That's Energizer, baby. Sponsor us.
Shameless plug.
So it's like they expected to come back to it, right? But they didn't. They made it less than a mile before dying of exposure. And 4 of them died even stranger deaths.
Yeah, it gets very interesting. So 2 months later, when the snow had thawed, searchers discovered the final 4 bodies deeper in a ravine covered by several feet of snow. But unlike the others, these had severe internal injuries.
Yeah, they had crushed skulls, broken ribs, but no external wounds, like the force came from inside.
And Lyudmila Dubinina, her tongue, her eyes, and lips were missing. No animals had disturbed the others, so why just her?
Well, doctors ended up comparing the trauma to being hit by a car, but there were no footprints, no signs of struggle, and yes, traces of radiation on some of their clothes.
That's fucking insane, dude. That's not like that's not normal mountain stuff. Not unless you're hiking through like a test site or something, but for like the amount of shit like that, that's crazy.
That's where the Cold War theories come in. Secret military experiments, weapon tests, even radioactive fallout from uranium nearby.
Which, I mean, is possible. I don't know how any of that would work, but I mean, radiation can do some crazy shit. So, I mean, could they have experimented with trying to irradiate creatures like wolves, bears? Could they try and experimented with, can radiation create, strength in people before it kills them? Like, you never know what they would have done, what they could have done, what they could have tried.
Or maybe some sort of radiation-induced madness would kind of like explain why they were breaking out and had like the confused state to strip down. And
Uranium fever?
I don't know. I'm not a science man.
Yeah. Well, even the investigators couldn't explain it. Officially, the cause of death was recorded as a compelling natural force.
That's honestly just bureaucratic for that they don't have a clue what it was.
Or maybe they don't want to have a clue.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. It could be one of those, if we have a clue, we end up just like they did type deals.
Yeah, we're not legally allowed to say anything.
Redacted.
I plead the 5th and the 15th and the 19th and the 30th. I will just not speak of anything.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I plead the 5th.
Now, crazy thing is, over 60 years later, theories still compete to explain what happened. One of them, the avalanche theory.
That's the 2021 study, right? Scientists said a small delayed slab avalanche could have panicked them.
Yeah, sure. Maybe a small collapse triggered the chaos. But would that break ribs like a car crash or tear a tent clean from the inside? I don't think it adds up.
No, but that's kind of where infrasound comes in. And what that is a low frequency sound waves caused by wind. It can trigger nausea, panic, and disorientation. So maybe they could have fled thinking something was chasing them.
Infrasound? Honestly, dude, the idea of it driving you insane, that's insane. That's horrifying.
I could see that maybe if that is something that happened, maybe it being like the triggering effect of why they would run out initially, but for them to run out and sit naked and confused to the point where they're hitting exposure, if it was from an avalanche, it would have just been like a sound, that weird panic, and then you're back to clarity, right? I doubt it would have a hold on them long enough for them to sit and die.
Yeah.
But there's also the military test theory. Parachute mines, sonic weapons, or chemical tests. It was 1959 Soviet territory, so secrecy was the default.
One thing before we go too much further, I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I'm pretty sure they've said Sasquatch / Yetis can actually give off infrasound.
I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff about Sasquatches and Yetis, like the point where they're, like I was saying earlier, like spiritual beings. So they would potentially leave no physical evidence, but in the moment they're there.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, man. There's a ton of shit, but there's UFOs, Yetis, even paranormal entities. Those are some of the more stranger ones that they're saying it could be.
Even deeper with like the Yeti Sasquatch lore. I've heard theories that state that they are extraterrestrials, but not in the UFO sense, like, we think physical, but like that they cross dimensions.
I have heard that as well.
I have not heard that, actually. This is the first time I'm hearing that one. That's a new one for me.
Do you remember I've done a ton of Sasquatch research because it's something that always intrigued me.
That's why there's never any physical evidence really of them, because they phase in and out of our plane of existence.
So what I'm hearing is Sasquatch are your Wendigos?
Yeah, basically.
And what is it, your Skinwalkers and Wendigos?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you had to know we'd eventually get to this conclusion as well.
I mean, the searchers did claim to see glowing orange orbs in the sky that night, and the Manzi people believed that the mountain was sacred. It was off limits because spirits guarded it.
I mean, think about it. 9 hikers flee their tent in terror, barefoot in a blizzard. Whatever made them do that, it for sure was not fucking ordinary.
Duh, it was the Yeti orb.
The Yeti orb flying a UFO.
It was a stick shift, so you know it was the Yeti.
Hey, I love my stick shift, all right?
Honestly, I think what makes the story stick isn't the weirdness. It's the humanity. 9 people freezing to death, terrified, trying to survive something that they couldn't understand.
And the silence after. And the way the snow just hides everything. The truth, the tracks, all the answers. The mountain of the dead kept its secrets.
I mean, think about it. Look at all the people that disappear going hiking up Mount Everest, and their bodies are never found till years later by other hikers who stumble across their frozen, well-kept preserved remains.
Or there's even stuff that's a lot more homegrown, like the Appalachians. People go missing there like daily. No traces.
Yeah, and I think that, though, aren't those typically pushed along the lines of Sasquatch?
Squatchy.
Sasquatch, like Wendigos and stuff like that. But that's its own whole its own thing. I would think would be cool to do an episode on at some point, but it's terrifying, so maybe we don't.
The Appalachians or Sasquatch?
Yeah.
Appalachians.
I mean, I'd be down to go.
Sasquatch-alacious.
No.
Dude, I have that 360 audio recorder. We could capture so much shit.
I feel like we capture something that's already too late.
Well, so here's the thing. Now, from stories I've heard, and again, there's no proof that this shit did happen. There's no proof that it didn't. Typically, the people that end up disappearing or being found in pieces are those who challenged what was out there. The ones
Wendigo?
No, I've heard stories of people going hiking and encountering what they believe was a Sasquatch, and they decided not to shoot at it. They decided to just kind of walk away, go back to camp, or pack up that camp and move somewhere else, and they were fine. It's the people that shoot at or try and find or try and hunt that end up being torn to fucking shreds. And we're talking like they found them in pieces that they said even like was overkill for a fucking bear.
Two bears.
They wouldn't see a fucking bear doing it. They wouldn't see a bobcat, a mountain lion. Like, it was more gruesome than kills made by those animals.
It was nature's serial killer, the honey badger.
Of course. It always comes back to honey badger.
I mean, that's what killed you in D&D.
No, it
Almost.
almost killed me.
Yeah, I threw in the almost. But in the end, if you think about it, the real horror isn't monsters or conspiracies. It's the unknown. The moment when survival instinct takes over and reason disappears. I mean, think about it. The ocean, absolutely terrifying because we don't know what's in it. Look at all the videos of weird noises and, like possible mermaid paranormal-esque shit going on. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what's under the water because we don't really spend time trying to figure it out. We're more interested in space than what's on our own fucking planet. And I've said this countless times, but, we need to explore that shit. I'd be interested to see, does a ship at the bottom of the ocean, if you could find a way to take like a portable capsule that would allow you to stay down there safely for a night, would you experience paranormal activity from the souls that lost their lives on that ship?
Ooh, that would be a good question.
I mean, there's tons of haunted ships that are above the water, so I don't see why under the water would make a difference there.
Because ghosts don't have gills.
But aqua yetis, aka mermaids, do.
Stop. Did you just call it an aqua yeti? That was terrible.
That's all the Atlanteans were. They were just aqua yetis. Aqua Sasquatch.
Well, I do want to say I would be down with finding
An aqua yeti?
yes, a ghost ship to spend time on. But the question is, how in the fuck are we going to do that safely? Because when I'm talking ghost ship, I'm talking about the ones that are seen maybe once every 10 years that have been at sea just floating along.
Those are insane. There's I cannot for the life of me recall the name right now. There's one that's ported, and I want to say San Diego.
Is it the Queen Mary?
It might be that. I've seen investigations there. It looks insane, the stuff that's been captured there.
I mean, I'd be down for that too, but I would love to find someone who's tracked a phantom ship that would be like, hey, we can go spend a couple hours on it, 5-6 hours.
Just make sure you have your tetanus shots.
Yeah, we'll stay tied to it so we don't break loose. We'll have 2 crews of people to make sure everything is as safe as can be, but we'll have 6 hours to explore. I would just go sit in like the main dining area and try and fucking pick up some EVPs, see what could be seen. Like, I think that would be absolutely fucking amazing.
That would be an experience for sure. It also sounds like the intro to a cheesy B-rate Lionsgate horror movie, but I'm in.
Welcome to Ghost Ship.
That already exists.
Yeah,
so it'd
I was
be
gonna
like,
say.
Ghost Ship 2, Electric Boogaloo.
There you go.
Anyways,
watch a loose.
Anyways, so back to this. I think the thing that makes it like scary about the story is not just like the unknown part of it. I think what makes it even more terrifying was a lot of times you hear people like the story like, oh, well, they went in and they were unprepared. Like they didn't map what they were doing. They were like novice. But these people, they were brilliant. They were young and they were prepared, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, they were experienced. They were educated, and they knew where they were going. Like that wasn't just some random group of bumbling idiots. But in 2019, the Russian government said avalanche. Maybe they were right. Maybe it's easier that way. Every piece of the evidence we find, though, it just opens a new question.
From the frozen slopes of the Urals to the dark corners of our imagination, this has been Tales from Helheim.
Until next time, keep your campfires burning.
And if the wind starts to whisper your name, don't listen.
Because in the silence of the snow, something might be watching.